this information, Snapchat, Twitter, all of that is gathering everything. And at any time they decide to pull your card, like Richie from Boston, we have had it with that kid. He just doesn't shut them. Doesn't shut up. Oh, here we go. Look at this. Here's a, they got you. They got you. They got you.
Well, they had to do it the back door though, because when the America started, one of the best books I've ever read was letters from sent home from the Civil War. These were farmers, blacksmiths, and everything else. These men and women could articulate a letter better than the finest lawyer today, and that's because the Bible was on the mantle and a copy of the American jurisprudence. Everybody knew the law. They knew what they. You ask anybody now coming out of college, hey, what's the law? I have no clue. Go get a lawyer. But everybody then knew it, and you had to slowly degrade that level of knowledge and intelligence out of a society. And what is left is what we are today, a society completely ignorant of the machinations of the system. And once you're ignorant of how it actually operates, you have
Machinations.
that's right. You like that, Massachusetts.
Hey, hey. Real quick, on that same vein you were talking about, the Civil War guys writing on the same level as what we would consider a legal mind. I've pushed James Corbett, the Corbett Reports videos, the two documentaries. I mean, he's got a lot of great ones. James is a dork. I can't stand like he put a video up today and he's talking and he's being sarcastic the whole time and I can't stand his voice. I would choke him to death if we were in the same room. Sorry, James. At any rate, he's got two video documentaries, How Big Oil and Why Big Oil Conquered the World. And he explains in it that back in the late 1800s, the reading, writing, arithmetic, the levels were through the roof. And then the same oil barons, which were also criminals, rapists, etc., Rockefellers, Rothschilds, all these same people slowly worked their way into the public education system and actually created the public education system and made sure that all went away. They didn't need any more lawyers. They had all the people they would want to pick from, the people that go to private schools, that go to Harvard, that go to Yale, the secret societies, etc. It explains it very, very well. But back in the day, I mean, tell them about Christopher Columbus, for instance.
Well, he was that's in 1885. Everybody in the United States knew he didn't discover America. As a matter of fact, it was they had given that to Lucky Leaf Erikson. I think that's what his name was. There was Viking outposts all over the eastern seaboard,
And
and
there's evidence of it, brother. There's ruins in rocks that I've taken pictures of. But go ahead.
that's right. And of course, this was taught in an eighth grade exit exam from the rural farm town of Kansas, and we have this evidence everywhere that men and women knew their history. And of course, this is evidenced by Karl Marx, right? Keep a man from his history, and they are easily controlled. And of course, that's just the nature of this beast system, is to dumb us down and to corporatize everything. And what they've really done is come in and steal all the wealth that the Father has given to us to live off of, and now we have to pay like little slaves to live here. It's crazy.
We're the only species on the planet that God gave us dominion over the earth, and we're the only thing on the planet that pays to live here. You have to pay to live here. It's unbelievable. Real quick, somebody just put a question up there. I had it up there for a long amount of time. It said Bill Cooper was not awoke. He wasn't woke on the JQ, the Jew question. Well, here's the deal. I talked about this last night too. I know, dude, organic mechanic, calm down. I'm 52 years old. I grew up with the word planet. Sometimes I take it. You don't have to comment and freak out. It is what it is.
That's
At
the
any
whole
rate,
thing.
at any rate, squirrels.
Yeah.
At any rate, it happens to all of us, dude. We're all ingesting all sorts of stuff to make us not be able to concentrate. So it's difficult doing this, talking, and blah blah blah. Let me tell you something. Bill Cooper was in the Navy, according to his story, and I'm going to take it for what it's worth, and saw a spaceship come out of the water in a way that no mechanical device made by man could possibly do. Therefore, he said, aliens. Later on down the line, most people apparently just don't listen to those documentaries. He said they're interdimensional. They're not interstellar, they're interdimensional. So he switched it. He manned up and changed his mind, which you can do because he was presented with more information. If Bill Cooper wasn't murdered for telling everybody that 9/11 was going to happen and they were going to blame it on Osama bin Laden because nobody else did, just him, and then it happened and then they killed him a month and a half later, if he was still alive, he'd probably be on the same page as us now. But Brandon and I and many others have had the luxury of being alive still, and we've seen all this stuff because nobody thought Israel was the bad guy that's coming right out of the womb. You know what I mean? It took us a while to finally figure it out, and now they're not even hiding it. So cut the guy some slack because he was an American hero in my personal opinion.
Well, and look, let's do this right. I had a guy message me the other day, and he said, Brandon, I really doubted you for so long, but I've been watching your videos for the last 4 months, and everything you have said, I went to go check and verify for myself, and he ended up telling me, hey, look, thank you so much for helping me in this. But the point I want to make right here is, hey, listen, folks, if you think a man or a woman is going to be 100% correct all the time, you're looking at the wrong people. We're just not perfect. But here's the thing: take the good. There's no lie that cannot stick without some truth to it. That's the way. That's the way the deception works, folks. Discernment is the key, and the way that you gain discernment is through knowledge. Leave whatever is bad, take the good, and don't always look for confirmation bias. Uh, Go to the hard truths that make you uncover something within yourself. You can find something good. I give it a perfect example. I still listen to Crow 777 sometimes, even though him and Jason I don't agree with ideologically,
Well,
but
I know Crow, and I think we've spoken about this. And if Crow or Jason are listening, it's fine. But I know exactly what you're going to say.
yeah,
Too
and
many times they look down their nose at people that believe in Christ, like, "Oh, come on, that was written." And then on the other hand, they both push Buddhism,
right,
big time, big time.
which is a variation, and of course, but it shows their lack of understanding of what's actually written in the Bible. But of course, that's a lack of understanding of most people, right? What's actually written in there and what it actually means. But either way, I can still listen to them or Max Egan from time to time and catch something uh, that I didn't know beforehand. And guys, that's something I want to get across to us people. I haven't watched Stephen Banoon in a while. There's that squirrel. You got me.
Yeah, I don't listen. I haven't listened to him since the time Anthony and Patch and I did a show on. We were talking about Hillary and how she was doing. She was pushing Saul Alinsky and that whole thing. And then Steve's wife came out and did a video, and she said everything word for word that I said in the video, except she said it. So it
Yeah.
didn't sound like me, but it was still complete plagiarism. And I'm like, what a dick. And I'm very, very reluctant of anybody that's in another country. It is what it is. There was a lot of YouTubers. That woman, I can't think of her name right now, but she did phenomenal videos. And then every once in a while, her accent would slip, and she sounded like a Russian woman. And then she'd go back to talking like a very well educated. Just
Yeah.
be careful. Just be careful. There's nobody that could possibly sound. Hey, I'm gonna go trick people by sounding like I'm from Alabama or I'm from Boston. At any rate. At any rate. All right, let me show you this other one real quick and see what you are you noticing that absolutely everywhere you look, scientists are coming out and saying we need to get rid of more people. We need more people. I mean, this is in every single publication, everywhere you look. Yahoo News. It's an emergency. Global warming is off the hook, even though it's freezing out all over the country because they're spraying the skies.
Yeah, we've got 27-degree weather coming here Tuesday, Richie, and that is unheard of for down here. As a matter of fact, to give you a correlation to that, we didn't freeze one time last year here, but every so often but they've been hard at the geoengineering this whole week. I mean, every day I could count hundreds of planes in the sky. I saw a post by Bill Meyer that somebody retweeted on Twitter today about how we need to start killing more people, and this is just open.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I saw that too.
And openly killing more infants, openly. And of course, this is the push, right? We're killing ourselves with this transgenderism, transhumanism. They know the agenda to do this, and this is just again the ignorance of the populace to know that to think that these events are natural when they just aren't. We can look up. All you have to do is look up, man, and pay attention. And of course, then you correlate that with your refineries, like here, uh, the the uh, the ground to air surface coolers, which pump out
Oh,
so.
did you see the video I caught on my last road trip? I was down. Oh, maybe I wasn't down that south. Huge storm fronts coming in, and I drove by two factories down south. I've got it on video. I put them up where they're just pumping it out. They do. I can see right from my window right here. There's a trash recycling place or something. It doesn't make a puff of smoke all week unless a massive storm front's coming, and then it just sits there and belches. I mean, I've got it on video all day long. It's insane.
I can't
Insane.
remember. I can't remember who did it. There's a documentary somewhere online about the global power grid, and that this is how you know the new.
Weather Wars 101 or something like that.
Hey man, I don't know where she went, or I don't know if she was a man or a woman, but she
It
is.
was a dude. I had words with him one time.
Yeah, he's disappeared. Now that was he was ahead of his time, wasn't he? And
Yeah. I'd have to say he was probably a weather. I think the reason he disappeared is because he was so good at making videos because it was his job.
yeah,
The or was his not making videos to deceive. The weather was his job, and they probably said, "Listen, stop the videos or everything stops." But speaking of what you're talking about right now, this just popped up, and they're talking about spraying it out at sea. The Harvard School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, SEAS, in collaboration with MIT and Princeton. Now remember, MIT's right down the street. I went and taken pictures. MIT has Darwin carved right in the side. A giant theory has suddenly become carved in stone.
yeah.
Do you see what I mean? It's the new science, man. It completely blows me away. I loved science as a kid. I still do, but there's no more testing and repeating. It's just spreading rumors and using the military and the media.
Well, you take likable actors like Tyson and all these other people, and it's really just theater around the outside. This is all. It's just to show Bill Nye, for example. But yeah, the Michio Kaku, and it goes back to the Nikola Tesla quote, right? These new scientists write on chalkboards all day long, equation after equation, and forget what they see with their eyes.
Indeed. This guy has been behind it since day one. I've got video from him from 3 years ago going, chemtrails, oh come on, people would blocking out the sun, that's just ridiculous. That's like vaccines and everything else. And now I've actually got him on his own website going, well, we're going to start experimenting with blocking out the sun and bouncing it into outer space, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean,
I've made videos over the years showing you guys science goes all the way back. Science always started out with black magic and occult practices and alchemy, etc., and it still goes on to this very day.
well, yeah,
You know,
they see they hold the natural sciences and how they actually work, right? They hold that stuff to the chest because it's natural. And what they do is they blast this image of fake theory and everything else to the masses, and then of course that's part of your compartmentalization of all aspects of life. If you don't ever see the forest because you're standing right in front of the tree, and that's why nobody realizes what they're a part of. But yeah, they actually know how the world operates and how alchemical process works and how metals work with each other and all these things. But what we have.
there's a reason they're spraying incredibly heavy materials into the atmosphere. You know what I mean?
There's no
It's
doubt.
funny too because if you look up what I don't know anybody. I don't know Dane Wigington. I don't know anybody from any of the serious research channels, chemtrails, any of that stuff that have gotten a recent, accurate water test because that stopped a long time ago. No lab will do it. They just will not do it. But we got barium, strontium, aluminum like back in like I want to say, I don't know, 2013 maybe. All the base metals that were in the water from places that were pristine. There's no place around that should be contaminating these water sources. It was basically spraying thermite in the atmosphere.
Yeah, that was Mount Shasta was, I think.
Oh, that was one of them. But Mount Shasta would be pristine, man.
Yeah,
Pristine.
I remember seeing that, reading that, and of course that's right. Right after that, you couldn't get any water tester to test any water. I can't remember who that was, but yeah, Matt, I remember that. And then you had the one in Ireland too, where that web was coming to the ground. That they were
I ran that a couple of times. That guy that got that, I can't find him anymore. Yeah, I was in contact with him for like 2 years, and again, I mean, like we've spoken about this before. Some people, they just apply enough pressure. I get it. He's a coward. Let me tell you what. When they start messing with you in the middle of the night, and I mean, you're being tortured like you can't even believe, and there's nobody around.
If you don't have a strong spiritual standing at that point in time, to just say if you don't have that spiritual armor on, this strongness inside, you're going to break down when that happens, because especially if you think this is the only place to live. But yeah, I don't look down on people when that happens, because we are men and women and of human nature, man. It's hard to down somebody when the Gestapo comes knocking on their door.
Indeed. I've looked down the barrel of a gun many times in this lifetime. I'm absolutely not joking, not exaggerating. I don't have to. If you've met me, you know. My mother was the first one to actually put a gun to my head when I was 9. So,
That's fun.
You live what you learn when you grow up. So it doesn't really worry me. But to others, I can understand. Mike Decker said, Mike, do you still have it? If you still have that here, can you hit me up and we'll do a live stream? We can show that if that's possible. And someone else is showing it too. Because he's saying Mike's got a lot of hairs, so there's a lot of testing going on there. Overloaded with barium, strontium, etc. Mike's been a trooper, man. He stays on it. The skies out where he lives are large. So it makes it even more obvious when they start spraying. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Ooh, that rhymes. We should become a rapper. Me and you. 2 white rappers. Something like that. I don't know. At any rate, listen to this real quick. I got to show you these 2 more stories, and I'll let you roll out, because I know you just came right in. Check this out. All right, let's start with this real quick. Let me get rid of this.
Hello.
I just
this is more
added that. Let me get rid of this. Oh, come on. I found out that StreamYard's run by like some long-haired pot-smoking kid.
Really?
Yeah, he just did the whole thing on his own. So here we go.
With Morse, it's mutual.
This makes perfect sense. A lesbian priest, because, America. Lesbian priest tapped to head major abortion group, calls abortionists modern-day saints. Saints. That's phenomenal. Look at these 2 fellows. Good-looking guys right there. That looks like, I don't even know. Dude.
Yeah, definitely. And see,
okay. Go ahead. Have at it.
I mean, this is the kind of stuff pushed from the pulpit, but this is the infiltration at all levels of what we call the church, and this has been allowed to happen because the church gave up its true power and rights as the ecclesia to get mammon. And the saddest part about it, no church ever had to be a 501c3 corporation. They were already tax exempt. But this is what happens. This is the natural flow of things. This is the destruction of all things pure. I mean, nothing is sacred to these animals, and really that's what they are. They have a deep-seated hatred for all of humanity. And I shouldn't use the word humanity. I should say mankind. We'll get into that another day. But yeah, they hate all life. This is a hatred of life, man.
Okay, so check this out. This happens all the time, but this is in Rome right now. This is insane because this is Magog.
Mm-hmm.
Am I sharing? Where did I just go with it? Stand by.
I see it.
Can you?
Yeah.
But I lost it. Got it. All right. So on November 6, 2019, a reconstruction of a pagan idol who demanded child sacrifice was stationed at the entrance of Rome's Colosseum as part of a secular historical exhibition. The presence of the idol raised particular concern among Catholics, as it was erected 9 days before the Amazon Synod and the subsequent scandal over the veneration of Pachama idol at the Vatican. The statue of Molech, worshipped by the Canaanites and Phoenicians, is part of an exhibit dedicated to ancient Rome's once great rival. I love how they word it like, hey, we need to do this because we're trying to literally resurrect the beast system full time, and we have to put these idols in particular places like back in days of old, etc., and people just buy it, man. They just buy it.
Yeah, they do, man. And there's your little Carthagen mask wearers on the left of him too. They like putting that in there too, show you that you're a bunch of personas acting as acting. You know, it's not even hidden. This is Alice P. Bailey's revelation of the method, man, and this is part of your predictive programming and your consent, and that's exactly what it is because they've shown it to you, and they continue to show it to us, and we say, okay, it doesn't really bother me that much.
In the last 4 years, it has been rampant with the ceremonies, the Gothard Tunnel ceremony, CERN's nonstop social media. I mean, they're constantly on social media talking about stairways to heaven, and then the Arch of Triumphs all over the world. You know what I mean? All over the flat plane with a dome over it. Because I didn't want to say planet by accident. You know what I mean? Because that would mean that my cover was slipping or whatever. Yeah, I mean these guys are not hiding it whatsoever at all anymore. And for the most part, they're sitting back going, "We did amazing. These people just don't pick up anything." And then someone's like, "Well, yeah, talk to Susan, because YouTube, those people are still over there quacking." Well, don't worry, we got a new update coming on the algorithm December 10th, so we'll shut them all up for good and forever. So there's that, but they're not hiding it anymore. I never thought it was going to be this absolutely flagrant in my lifetime. You know what I mean? Like I never saw this coming.
Yeah, what's happened with society is nobody has that rock, that foundation that they're set on. Everybody's blown around with the wind and the waves, and nobody has. I liken him to a wise man who has built his house upon a rock, right? These spiritual truths that most people have forgotten. We don't have these things anymore. Nobody has any type of foundation, and you'll see these program responses all over at social media. You know, it's 2019. You can be whatever you want to be. Well, what happened in 2019 that changed the laws of nature and changed the truth into a lie? It's just amazing to be alive in this time. And I tell anybody out there that's feeling alone or feeling down and trodden, don't, man. Be glad. For many are called, few are chosen. Be happy that you see the world for what it is. And just know that this is just it's going to continue to happen, folks. But we can stand up for the truth at all costs and never back down, never run, and just be ambassadors of righteousness in this time.
Do no harm and be ready. Do not allow yourself to become a victim, because we've watched it happen too many times. Maybe it's because I'm from the Northeast and I've seen them shut it down so many times and make people shelter in place, and you're not allowed to go to your home, and you're not allowed to drive because we might have bad weather tomorrow. And you know what? It's going to snow in a couple of days, so the military's here now. The military's here now in a town with 2,500. That's complete and total bullshit, and they let it slide. It keeps going, and it keeps going. And then all of a sudden, you know what? Somebody got sick from something, so we're going to ban vaping. And you know what? Now we're going to ban it nationwide. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me since I was 19 and I picked up that first cigarette and got a head rush. I was like, you can get high from these? These are amazing. 2 packs a day for the rest of my life. Even while I was in the military, I was the jerk off with chewing tobacco in my lip with a drill sergeant in my face, denying I had chewing tobacco in my lip, which means I had to swallow it, which was phenomenal. Vaping got me to quit smoking. I can run. I can climb a mountain. It's amazing. It's amazing. They're going to ban it. Well, wait till they ban going to grocery stores, or wait till they ban talking to your children, or ban whatever else they want. They're pushing the limits, and no one's pushing back.
I'm glad you brought this up. Kamala Harris is pushing for public schools to be open to until the PM hours. I
6
saw,
o'clock. 6
yeah,
p.m.
I saw this yesterday, and it's kind of funny. My wife sent me that. I've been talking about this for the last few weeks, and that's how they get to these children, and they don't want you imprinting
Anything, dude.
anything in the, they and of course this gets back into the doctrine of parents patria, right? Uh, they really are. Once we sign them over to the system, they believe they are the parents. The state is the parent anyway.
It's
Um,
always been the plan. It's not something new.
no,
When you
it's
were talking about teaching your kids how to tie knots, these are things that I'm showing people on the other channel because I carry cards in my wallet for particular knots because knowing how to tie a knot can literally save your life. It can save you in a lot of situations. If you ever want to get a video of you skinning the fish, send it to me and I'll run it on my channel, brother. Without a doubt. I don't know how to do it. You have to show me. I'm coming down. I might be down in a couple of weeks.
yeah. I'll end up doing some of that. I didn't think people would really want to see that stuff, but yeah, you don't realize how much you can use these things until you actually need to know how to do them, and then you don't have that knowledge.
It's
Uh,
only been 80, 100 years. In the scheme of things, it's not all that long. I'm 52, dude, so that's half 100 years. It hasn't been all that long of a ride. It doesn't seem like. But 100 years ago, if people saw us, everything we get comes from a fast food or from a grocery store. When those things shut down, what do you do?
yeah,
Do you know how to hunt? Do you know how to ski? Like, people don't know how to do that. Most people don't even live in an area where they could even do it anyways, if they even had the implements or the skill set to do it.
well,
But I'm off my